So I could do yet another bloody video about, well, the cashless society, the digital ID, but we've done these for years, haven't we? We've done them for many, many, many years. Meanwhile, sorry, we didn't realise just how many movies and films and sci-fi and all the rest of it was about biometrics and your hero, your anti-hero, your whatever it is, blah blah blah. Oh, James Bond. Hey, what was it? Casino Royale. Well, we had to put a chip under the skin, Well, But if it's James Bond, yeah. The Matrix. Remember the phone? Neo's phone at the time? The idiot that I was went like, that's a cool phone. I need to get one. Yeah. We are talking, late 90s? But anyway. Yeah, I did feel cool with that and a leather jacket on. Look, I was a younger man. What can I say? Mind you, it worked. But, yeah. The digital ID. And, of course, one of the reasons, yeah, because of illegal migrants, yeah. But Emmanuel Macron demanded action to tackle the scourge of illegal working in Britain. How does Emmanuel Macron give two shits about that? But if you were just to add Freemasonry, as I said, it's every bloody country in the world, so all these puppets have one thing in common. And what puppets? I mean, come on, look at his background. It's more than questionable as regards, well, his passions, shall we say. And as for this guy, well, And this guy, let's not forget, didn't he get caught in a toilet somewhere, what was it, the late 80s? Under another name, of course, But yeah, they've always got something on them, Colour purple again, but... So rather, wait, let's look at a couple of the comments. I mean, I put the cashless society control grid. I know I could have said other things, but I know I wouldn't have got it through. Well, I wouldn't have got it through. Backhanded control of the population. No shit, Sherlock. Second comment. Tony Blair is also pushing this digital ID. Why is Blair still not in jail? Why indeed? Yeah. For lying about WMDs in Iraq. Let me tell you why Blair's not in jail. Because he said, I believe there is weapons of mass destruction. See, he had a legal background. There's a big difference between I know there's weapons of mass destruction and I believe. Because in court, well, hey, you said you knew. Look at the crap that you've caused. Blah, blah, blah. There's some consequences. No, I believed at the time, but that was, well, look, so it was just an innocent opinion that, well, cost untold billions and many lives. And, well, guess what? Actually helped such destabilization that you had refugees going about left, right, centre. And then all becomes clear about the Iraq War, the second... Remember, what was it? First Gulf War, second Gulf War. And remember, first it was Father Bush, and they left the guy they were supposed to go after in charge. Remember that one? Saddam. Yeah, we'll leave him in place. Then George Bush Jr. No, we need to go back, blah, blah, blah. And along with Tony Blair and other puppets, blah, blah, blah. A lot of money got spent, masses. Oh, Halliburton, made out like bandits, yeah? What was there was a bit doing the rounds, a film called Iraq for Sale. You should look it up. And so many more things. And then we've got all this mayhem with all these refugees. And then, of course, Ed Miliband's brother, a few years ago, decides, you know what, I'll leave politics for a while and I'll go and be the head of a charity called International Rescue, blah, blah, blah. And it's all about refugees. And I still suspect that his brother's going to be popping back as a prime minister at some point. Yep. After all his such years of experience of dealing with migration and all the rest of it. Yep. I mean, they do plan in advance. So I could go into more detail on that. But, I've got playlists. But what I've said to you before is, on the ground, you've got networks and government councils, the third sector, I would say, I would argue that many of them you will find are either Theosophists, humanists, Freemasons, Eastern Star variation, and supposedly for females, but I'm sure there's some men in it as well. I could be wrong. And various other interconnected, well, cults. That's what you're dealing with. Doesn't matter the country. Same with Ireland. You look at all these puppet politicians, and what they're pushing through is against the very interests of the people they purport to look after the interests of. Yeah? Name the party, they do the same thing. Without a care in the world. And generally, by and large, live without the consequences of their actions. Yeah? They don't live in the rough areas. They're not having to worry about making ends meet. They live very well. Many of them are just making out like bandits. But you are dealing with an occult religious ideology behind the scenes that networks, that implements what you see before you. Because while some people will go, oh, well, they don't get the implementation of it on the ground. Most people don't realise how it ties into. You could go to a pub or two, and after a couple of pubs, they'll say, sorry, big government says, you've had your allotted amount of beers. That's it. And I'll go for food. And sorry, in this eco hellhole that we are creating in the world, we've ranked, the policy, the United Nations policy is 20 grams of meat per week. Think about that. Per week. There's no end to where this goes. The pushing for electric vehicles. You said the wrong thing. You're blah blah. Whatever it is. Sorry, you're no longer a good citizen. Remember, with the Chinese style social credit score, it's you have to have a certain amount of points, say the right things about government, etc., etc., or otherwise you'll no longer get access to transport, to so many other things. Yeah. At some point, they're not going to need these useful idiots, yeah, because it'll all be about AI and, shall we say, a standing army, UN-based. By and large, there'll be a few of these useful tossers, yeah, and still useful puppets for a while. But remember, they've dumbed down society so badly, they'll take an avatar as a politician, yeah, over time. After all, they're already looking at AI as opposed to lawyers, and I could see why. But there's no good end to this. There is absolutely no good end to this, and I'm astounded to this day that, for example, that YouTube channel is still only got 85 subscribers, and it literally talks. You can see some of the network talking. 20-minute neighborhoods. Yeah. There, another example. All these lunatics, 15-minute cities, and we're literally telling you where this is going. Remember, based on this uncontrolled immigration, a destruction in quality of living, this fear constantly of crime, theft, you name it, murders, stabbings, and you've just got to suck it up for Gaia Mother Earth. Once this control grid comes in, once you get rid of cash, that's another thing. I have no problem paying with for people paying with card, right? But any place that says, sorry, it's all we do, you walk. If you can't pay in cash, you walk from that place. Do not. And because many of these little tossers are underling occultists as well. Seriously. In their businesses, they'll have their local network coming in to help make sure that they go for a while and all the rest of it. And then you've got the other idiots with their bloody, I've got whatever it is, app on my phone plus the card, Usually cyclists, I find. But, yeah, it's always I could do a better job, but I've been doing this shit for years, and apathy is astounding. By all means, feel free to give me subjects. But, on a complete tangent, I had a comment to something, and they said that they actually appreciated me dropping in a couple of tunes now and again. I used to do that a lot. Mind you, I need to expand the tunes that I decide to put up there, but then that's usually down to YouTube's recommendations, and I keep going, well, yeah, that is a great tune, even although I've maybe uploaded it a few, linked it a few times, but I'll expand on that. But yeah, keep saying, don't panic about what's going on out there. I don't do this to get people fucking depressed, although I suspect that some are. I still would say it's all to play for, but let's not be lightweights about this. Look at it for what it is. Yeah? And all this alternative media, I just see pretty much fucking most of it is controlled opposition or really fucking naive individuals. Anyway, share if you care, and I'll speak to you soon.